stick with the way that Deshaun is playing now? Do you prefer to stick with both safeties playing all the snaps as opposed to trying to weave in Elijah or Brandon Jones?
Yeah, we're going to stay with Deshaun right now, and always the possibility of weaving guys in during the game. But if things are going good back there, we kind of leave it alone.
Vic, what went into the decision to put Eli back outside cornerback, move Cater inside, and do you foresee that as a permanent thing?
Well, as we said before, nothing's permanent in the NFL. But yeah, that's the way we're going to go right now. It's twofold. It was get Cater back inside in the nickel, where we think he does a good job, and thought Eli, after a couple weeks of inactivity, could get back out there and let's give it another go. That's it.
We're never ready here. How does the defense adjust without Jalen Phillips in there? Do you do anything differently with Van Ginkel and Ogba than you would with Jalen Phillips?
No, it just allows them to play, those two guys to play more outside. Ogba got a good bit of reps last week. Gink is the starter in there without Jalen, and takes Gink away from playing ILB very much, like he had been in the early games. That's about it.
Ginker making it a case to stay on the field on the edge even when all edge rushers are healthy.
Yeah, he's making a case for that, but we got the two other guys that are playing good for us, when they're healthy, and we'll try and get Gink as many snaps as we can between the edge and the ILB position.
With the inside linebacker spot, we've known Gink for a while, and he's always around the ball. What makes you think that inside linebacker would work for him?
There was a point in the off season where I saw him when I was watching some tape, and it was really just crossover tape. I wasn't watching it to watch him, and I saw a play or two that made me think that maybe he could be an inside linebacker. So I had one of the other assistant coaches pull up all his snaps over the last couple of years that could relate to being an ILB. And he did that, and I watched it, and it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't like, yeah, definitely. So for about 3-4 days, I said, we're not going to do it. Just leave it alone. But then I said, the heck with it. We're going to do it because I still have a gut feeling he can do it. And that was it. There was I just had a gut feeling he could do it.
Coach, you guys, in a couple of the games that you've had your best production usually occurs when the offense gets out to a hot start. How does the game script impact the way you call a game in terms of having a big lead early in games?
Well, it definitely does. All games take on their own personality, and the scoreboard has an effect on the way you call a game. There's no doubt about that. There's only one goal in mind, and that's to win. And whatever the best way for us to do that in light of how the whole game is going is what we'll do.
It seems obvious, but in what ways do you think when an offense becomes a little more one-dimensional that it helps the defense be even more productive?
No doubt. When you have to only worry about one phase of it, it makes calling it easier. It makes playing against it easier.
How is David Long playing, do you think, through 5 games?
He's been playing better and better of late. Still need to get out some of his inconsistencies at times, but I think he's working hard to do that, and he's been improving.
What have you seen?
I like your hat.
What have you seen early on the other side from Bryce Young in studying him?
Yeah, good young quarterback. He's got good quarterback instincts. He's got a nice release. I think he sees the field well for a young quarterback, and I think he has a bright future. And I think he's improving week to week for the Panthers.
You face a young quarterback, are you tempted to go at him more with more blitzes?
That's kind of a common theme that a lot of people think, but sometimes it's good to make him be a quarterback and go through his progressions and dissect the coverages and whatnot. Not just sometimes when you pressure him, it does make it easier for him too.
I was curious what your relationship like is with Ejiro, Evero, Just what's it like kind of seeing him grow? I think he was a quality control coach when you were in DC.
Yeah, he was with us in San Francisco, and in the last year there, he was on defense with me. Stayed in contact with him over the years through his coaching career. Stayed on in San Francisco, went to Green Bay with a friend of mine, and he's done very well. Did a great job coaching the secondary with the Rams. Did a great job with the Broncos last year, and is continuing that here with the Panthers.
I've got to ask the obligatory Cam Smith question because fans keep asking us, is he knocking on the door, getting playing time on defense?
He's knocking on the door.
Someone answer?
What's it going to take for the door to open?
He's got to keep knocking and got to keep improving in practice.
Just following up with Daniel asked on Ajero, do you feel like an ownership for guys that run a version of your scheme?
No, not really. I mean, EJ has another guy on the staff there, and Pete Hansen, who was with me for 4 years also as a QC, and they're doing a good job. And I'm sure they're doing a lot of the things that we've done, but once someone gets out on their own, they kind of put their own little flavor to it.
Vic, I've got a two-part question regarding Christian Wilkins. 19 tackles, I think he's on pace for like 70, which would be a low for the past 3 years. But he's got 1.5 sacks. He's on pace for 5 sacks, so he could have a career high in sacks. How do you view his season overall, and how has he done with the contract, I guess, over the potential extension hanging over his head?
I think he's done good on both parts. I think his play has been good. I think it's improving. I do think the layoff he had, in training camp after the first 10 days or so when he did partake in it, did get him rusty. And I think he's back to where he was then. And I see no effects of his contract situation affecting him, but I haven't talked to him about it.
At what level, Vic, is Raekwon Davis doing what you need out of that role?
He's doing good sometimes not so. It's just a consistency thing with him. I believe in Raekwon. I've said that from the start. He's just got to push himself, not that he isn't, but to keep going to get to places he hasn't been before.
I had a chance to speak to Deshaun Elliott in the locker room yesterday, and he talked about his comfort level in the defense increasing. How have you seen his just adhering to the rules and the structures of your coverage kind of come along here 5 weeks?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's, played well here of late. I think he's improved from week to week, which is what you would expect and hope for. I think he's very diligent in his preparation, takes a lot of pride in his performance, and it's reflecting that he's been improving.
You were talking a little earlier about Gink and Agba getting more reps. For Agba in particular, what have you seen him do the last couple of weeks with those increased opportunities?
He's had some production, missed an opportunity or two along there too. Again, he's just got to get better at some of the most fundamental things that you got to do early in a play. That will help improve his game.
Vic, a little random. I know this spring or summer you teased the new coverage that you had worked on. Have we seen it and not recognized it, or have you not unleashed it? Where's that new coverage in the scheme?
It's actually reared its head here of late a little bit, and it's helped us.
You like Bryce Harper's playing style?
Yeah, I love bombs. And hopefully we got to get one more, and then I'll feel good about it.
Well, I wanted to ask you about defensive linemen in terms of twisting and stunting, not necessarily just going head up against their man. What's the downfall of that?
It's just part of rushing the passer. And if you're proficient at running games / stunts, the word you used, it helps you rush the passer. If you're somebody that never runs games, then it helps the O-lineman. If you have the threat of games, it helps you on defense. But you have to be good at them. And we mix them in a fair amount of time. And so far it's helped us.
Were you the first Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator?
Yes.
That's a cool nugget. What do you remember about being about the first year?
The very first year, we played our home games in Clemson, which was a pain. We started slow and finished strong, and then the next year had a really good year, went to the NFC Championship game. Had a good group of veteran players that we got through free agency and the expansion draft, and it was a good experience.
Is that Brenton Buckner? Was he on that squad? The NFC champion? I think he was.
No, he wasn't.
Who was
Yeah,
the-
that was the
Oh,
latest.
that was later. A later Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Vic, when you have a team that needs to create turnovers, your guys have talked about that. Is it tough to get them to not tackle the ball and tackle the ball carrier just in the name of trying to create turnovers? How do you walk that line?
No, you just keep coaching the fundamentals of it, and when the opportunities come and when they're there to go for it. But tackling is still of the utmost importance to us.